everyone, my name is Lori, my nickname is Reenie, and I'd like to welcome you to Reenie Bobini Creations. If this is the first time you've popped by to check out my channel, welcome. I do hope you like what you see. If you do, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing and sharing with your fellow crafters. If you're back to see me again, I so appreciate it. And if you haven't done so already, it would mean a great deal to me if you hit that subscribe button. So for today, we're sticking with that Halloween theme. I'm kind of packing two into one here. I did a Pinterest inspired tape ghost that I will show you. Now, to be honest, I almost didn't upload this one. I have to tell you, it was a lot more difficult than I anticipated, just trying to keep her shape and stuff. I don't know if I'd do it again, but I think the final result was kind of spooky, so we're putting her up this year. And the other is something I've done for other seasons on the channel. It's making a swag. I love doing it. It just adds that touch of whatever to the whatever holiday season you're at, whether it's Easter, Halloween, Christmas. So we're doing up a Halloween one here. So let me stop yakking at ya and let's get on with the crafting. Okay, so this is one of those projects that I lost part of. So I'm going to explain to you how I did it, and then I'll show you on the rest. So this right here, I'm trying to find a way that will work. This will be the bottom of our ghost. Now how I made it was I took a clear, large garbage bag, and I taped it around my hubby's waist, and then I just wrapped the packing tape around it about 2 deep, and I'll probably, well, as you can see, I'm gonna go over it several more times to give it some strength, but that gave me the form. So once it's wrapped around them, you're not gonna be able to just pull it off, it's too tight, so you have to cut down the back and then put it back together, which is what I did. So, okay, so this is the top, and I don't know if you, I needed it to be a girl, so we had to find a girl, not my husband. And you can see I just slid it down the back. So it's just been slit down the back there. And I'm going to put it together, and then we will tape it to the bottom part. But before I do that, I'm going to make the head. And I'll make the head, and that'll show you kind of how I did it. What I'm going to do is stick my head, which I got at the Dollarama, but you can find them all over, especially at this time of year, in the corner. It doesn't have to be a perfect fit, that's what the tape's about, but just to give us enough. And I'm going to go down the neck, and I'm going to leave a little bit hanging off just so I have some extra to work with. I'm just going to cut it. And these I just got at the Dollarama. They came, I guess, 5 in the thing, and they are perfect, they're clear. So then, and this came from, so this whole thing is just stuff from the Dollarama. I'm going to start at the top and just begin wrapping it. And I know this is noisy, sorry, but I'm going to do at least 2 layers before I cut it off. I've got my head all wrapped in several layers here, and I may find some thin spots once I take it off. So now how we're going to get it off is just using your box cutter, starting at the forehead. I'm just going to cut through all the layers all the way around to the back. And then off. Then, once she's off, we can just put her back together. But I'm going to wait to put it back together until I attach it to the torso, just in case I have to do any adjusting to make it work. But it's just that simple. And for the arms, I'm going to do this exactly the same thing. So we're going to end up with the 4 pieces: the head, the skirt, the torso, and then the arms. So I guess that's 2 arms, right? And then we'll put them all together. And I'm going to add, like I said, another at least 1 or 2 more layers to give them a little stability. So then when we put them all together, we will have our ghost. So I'm gonna go do the arms and get that part all ready, and then I will find a better way to film this once everything's ready to go and we can put our ghost together. Okay, so we're got our other pieces done except for the hands, which I'm going to leave for the very last. So we're gonna start putting our tape ghost together. So I'm gonna start, so this is our bodice. I know it's hard to see on this camera and I couldn't seem to find a great angle, but I'll do the best I can. So the first thing I'm gonna do is where we cut her, we're going to tape her up again. But I'm only going to tape in the middle to start because if I need to adjust for the neck and the head and that kind of stuff, I want to have a little wiggle room. So we got our trusty tape out again. And I'm just going to kind of line it up as best I can. And then just tape our seam up. Now once she is all together, I am going to give her a few more layers of tape just to stiffen her up. But I want some room to be able to adjust things and that kind of thing. So I think this might be the hardest part. Almost did. I got a spare kid around or a spouse. Probably be easier with 2 people. Okay. So that's our bodice. That's our arm. It's stuck to our bodice. So hoping this makes sense there. And I know it's really hard to see on the camera being that it's all clear and everything. So now we're going to do the same thing, but now I've got the head. So now with the head, I'm going to start at the top and do it just to the bottom of the neck so that we can try and make her all fit together. Actually, what I might do is to make things a bit easier because I use me. I'm going to cut some pieces. Now don't lose the end. That's so annoying. Okay, good. Excuse my many projects on my desk here. If you can see them, I'm trying to keep them out of there. But okay, so I'm just going to do a couple across to get the shape, and then I'll worry about doing the proper seam after. Like I said, if you got a spare pair of hands somewhere, definitely use them. This is kind of a fussy part, and I'm having. It would be much easier if I had a second pair of hands, but I don't at the moment, so we'll make it work. One thing about buying the cheap tape instead of the really good tape, if you need to take it back off, it doesn't stick real well. Like, I mean, it sticks when you do the layers for sure, but it does give you some time to be able to adjust things. Okay, so now we want our head, oops, right, wrong way around, in our body. So to do that, I'm going to flip her back over so the seams are there. And I'm going to try and line up the head seam with the body seam, if that makes sense. Arms. And then we'll hopefully have her fairly centered. So her head's, you know, facing the right way. And not off to the side or anything. All sides at the back. Oh, space them. And tape that bit together. Now, I'm going to go inside and hold it while I do it. That might even work a little better. I'm not going to lie to you, this is tougher than I thought it was going to be, the putting together part. But if you have a little patience, which most days I do, some days not as much, I think the result's going to be just cool. Alright, so there is our lady with her torso on. So now we just have to do the skirt part. So this will probably be the easier part until we get to the hands, which we're not going to do right away here. So this part's just going to be super easy, I'm thinking. Please. The rest is a bit of a fight. I'm just going to tuck the extra inside. Now we are going to use some more of these garbage bags later to give her a skirt and a veil, but make the skirt fuller, I guess, or I don't know exactly how to say it, but poofier maybe? Flowing. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Flowing. More flowing. And so I'm just going to pull it all in there. And then just do what we were doing before with just taping it back together. So here she is all done. I did hang her instead of standing her. She will stand up, but the wind blows her over, and I thought this was pretty effective. So I hope you like it. Alright, so I got this big mess of stuff here, and it's mostly ribbon. I got the orange ribbon here. And I got this pack of raffia from the Dollarama for $1.25. I'm probably going to use the purple and the black. And I just dug out of my stash to see what I had that I thought would go with it. So what we're going to be making, I like making swags for all the different seasons, whether it's Christmas or fall or whatever. So I'm going to make a Halloween one. So to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is take just some twine. This is a little bit heavier grade. It doesn't say what, I lost the packaging long ago, but again, it was Dollarama. It cost me probably $1.25. And I just measure, I know where I want it to go. I kind of want to go by my fireplace. So I've measured it out to about the length I'm looking for. And to do the swag, I'm going to be wrapping all the different ribbons and raffia around it. But I also have this scrapbook paper. This is actually from Cricut, but you can find, you could use napkins. If you've got fabric, you could use it. And I'm just cutting it. I had these in my stash. So I'm gonna just use some Mod Podge and glue it right onto there. And then when it's dry, like that one is, I'll just take my my box cutter, my X-Acto blade or whatever, and cut around it to get the clean edge. And now I'm going to spell out the word spooky on these when they're done. So I'll show you that when it's done. Now for that, because I have a Cricut, I'm going to actually cut out the word or the different lettering on my Cricut, but you can get the letters from the Dollarama or the Dollar Tree or whatever dollar store is in your neck of the woods. If you're good with If you have a nice penmanship, you could just draw it on with a Sharpie, would be great too. So I think I'm going to use orange lettering to spell out the word spooky when I've got these all done. But in the meantime, while those are drying and I'm getting those painted, I'm gonna just start by, in no particular order, I'm gonna start adding the ribbon onto our swag. So, and I forgot to cut it, which I was really planning on doing before I started. Now I'm thinking that this stuff might be a bit thick. I'll probably leave this one as is just because of the pattern on it, but I'm probably going to cut this one in half and tie it. So, I'll probably just like cut it down the middle, just so it's not quite so wide. So if I do that, and you can just decide how long and sort of, I guess, swaggy, is that a word, you're gonna want it. So I think I'm gonna keep mine to I don't want them too long, and I won't have them all even. Some will be a bit longer and shorter. I kind of like that look. And I'm just gonna tie them on. Nothing fancy. And I believe I've got these bats, as I said, but I believe I even have some old little skeletons. In fact, I'm quite sure I do. So I will add those on as well, and I'll probably glue them onto a bit of the string or the ribbon so they're hanging down, if that makes sense. So like for instance, if I use the raffia one, let's go with the purple here. Now at first it doesn't look like much, it looks a bit scraggly, but that's kind of the look you're going for with one of these. When it's all done, it looks really, I really like the look of it. So just with the raffia, I'm going to go a bit longer. I'm going to fold this one in half-ish. Tie that on there too. And just as you go, just sort of give it a tug so it's all hanging the same way. Okay, so I changed my mind. These guys are heavier than I thought. I'm going to use them for something different. But I knew I had these guys in my stash. So we still have the bats in all the different colors and these skeletons. So I'm just going to start hanging stuff off of there until I get sort of the swag look I'm happy with. I'm not entirely sure what colors I'm all going to use until I start doing it. But we're just going to go along and see what we can come up with. So we got these all Mod Podged on, so just like you would if you were using fabric, we're just going to cut around them, using the wood piece as the guide. Alright, so you should be left with something like this. So, I don't know if you can hear it in the background here, that would be my Cricut, cutting out the word spooky. Again, if you don't have a Cricut, you can certainly use the stickers from the Dollarama or the Dollar Tree. If you're good with penmanship, by all means, just do them on. I'm afraid that is not my strong suit, so I am going to let my Cricut do the work for me. And I'm going to just put the letters for spooky on each one of these. So once that's done, while we were waiting for our Mod Podge and stuff to dry and do that part, I did go ahead and I tied my ribbon, my raffia, all the different things on my rope to make the swag. So the next part here, after getting the spooky on, and I think I'll actually do it first so I know kind of how I want them placed, is to just decide where I'm going to want them on my swag. And I've sort of spread out the ribbons just a bit, just so I could have a pretty good idea of how I wanted them to be there, and I'll adjust as necessary. And I'm just going to use hot glue to put those on. So I think we will start with that. I think I'll just put it right on the rope as opposed to the... I got this spider paper from Cricut, but I know they've got all kinds of different Halloween ones at the dollar stores, at any of the craft stores at this time of year. So just whatever you have. You could just go with a standard black or orange or something like that as well, would be just fine. Okay, so I got my spooky out. I got all these glued on here. Sorry, my camera isn't gonna show the whole length of it, but I'll get you a picture after. So you can, of course, use the sticky ones from Cricut if that's what you're doing, but I didn't have one in a color I liked, so I'm just gonna use a little glue to put them on.